All right, traders, happy Sunday. It's time for another review and rev up. Let's get going right into this. All right, let's take a look at the daily chart. Let's look at where we started the week. Let's go back Friday, Thursday, Wednesday, Tuesday, Monday. The main point of my interest was the order block that we have up here. And then do we travel lower? If we go back, this is where the narrative was from last Sunday's review and rev up. If we take a look at the high to high becomes support and the low to low trend line from here down here, you can see that it was lining up pretty nice for some sort of retracement, or we were going to push into all-time highs again. What they decided was they were going to take it down into this low to low trend line. They're going to bounce it up. They're going to test back into this order block daily chart. And now what we're waiting for is hurry up and wait and see. Let's go to the 4-hour chart. Basically what we have is just a bunch of chop as it tests along the all-time high, all-time high, all-time high. And so then we get some sort of liquidity draw here, and they immediately buy it right back up. But what we find is we get a test of this late Friday, and the last 8 hours or so of the session, they just drift it lower right back into this low to low trend line that we looked at. Now, if we look at the KISS chart, it's still position 1, 11 months into this move. So we have to remain bullish in the larger time frames, daily, weekly, monthly. Let's go to the 15-minute chart. Let's take a look and see what we can see. Well, it looks like a lot of chop. A lot of traders are so used to only seeing upside price action that they freeze when the market turns south on the 15-minute or the 4-hour time frame. They're so used to 13, 14, 15 years of it moving upwards with very, very little movement downwards that they hesitate to take any shorts when it breaks because they think that it's just going to turn right back up and go up. Well, it does if you're looking at it in context. If you're looking at it, what we need to do is we need to find the areas of liquidity that could be drawn. Here's one, right? And then they couldn't get it the next day. And then we drew on liquidity here. And now when we come into next week, we're going to have a test of this. So we had a very, very short news week, very, very slow news week last week. And so what we're waiting for is the big news coming in next week. We'll get to that here in just a second. So now, let's start back at the daily chart and let's look at what we can see for next week as we begin to rev up into tomorrow morning, which we stream every morning, 8 a.m. on YouTube. The name of the channel is The Live Trading Desk. If you have not, if you're catching this video from a different source, Twitter, Facebook, Instagram, it's shared by a friend, come on over and join us every single Monday through Friday, 8 a.m. Now, what I want to do is let's take a look at what could happen. Let's take a look at the news and let's see if there's anything that we can have as a plan. Well, the first thing that I see is this beautiful inverted hammer on a touch of the 20-period simple moving average. It's perfect. I have a very, very small call option position open right here. Let's go to the 4-hour chart and let's see what we can see. We're right on this low to low trend line. We're right in this former breaker block. Before we get to the 15-minute chart, let's go ahead and bring in the calendar for next week. Here's the heavy hitters. All right, so Monday, nothing. Tuesday, we've got consumer confidence. We've got jolt openings. Now here's where everything starts to gain some traction. Advanced GDP quarter over quarter. That's what we're looking for. Pending home sales month over month. Okay, and then Friday morning, non-farm payroll. So we've got a double dose of extremely important economic news as we come into next week, as we wrap up next week, if you will. Let's go ahead and take a look at the 15-minute chart. Let's see if there's anything that we can see. The threat of the move lower, if we were to move lower, would be watching this high to high becomes low to low trend line. Would it just drop straight down into here, or does it go straight back up through 5,900 and we start to really start to collect the weak traders, the weak sellers, the sell to opens? We don't know. That's what we're going to be watching for. Now, I want to remind you, the reason that the stock market is going up, in my opinion, continuously as this economy crumbles beneath our feet is very, very simple. The dollars that they're purchasing the stock with are worth less every single day. If we go out and we take a look at the 20-year plus Treasury bond ETF, look at what it's done. 179 to 90. Therefore, the yields are spiking in the Treasury Department as the bond price comes down. So you can see we're at a pivotal point here. Put your low to low, and we're at the low to low now. So if this breaks, what do? This makes the capital that the government is borrowing more expensive. I also want to remind you, this is slowly becoming a once-in-a-lifetime trade. If you can hold for a very, very long period of time, it's going to pay you 31 cents every 30 days. And so this right here is what I have been accumulating over the past 12 months. Let's go back to the S&P chart. Let's go back into what are we actually looking for? Well, again, as we get the GDP report, which tells us, is there actual economic growth or not? It's going to answer the question of, are we in a period of stagflation? You can go ahead and Google the definition of stagflation. It'll make a lot more sense if you read it for yourself, as other than me telling you my opinion of what I think the definition truly is. But what we want to watch for is the economy growing still, or is it decaying and we have inflation, stagflation? So this is going to map out the rest of the week or next. Is this going to move us lower or into new all-time highs next week? The worst thing that can happen for traders is the market just goes sideways and the market makers take over and they just collect premium. That's going to do it for this week's Sunday night review and Rev-Up. We'll see everybody tomorrow morning, 8 a.m., bright-eyed and bushy-tailed on the live trading desk with SageFT. We'll see you tomorrow. Good night.